Good Monday afternoon to you. Welcome to the Jon Sanchez Show on News Talk 780 KOH. It's a pleasure to be with you and a pleasure to be with one's not a new co-host, but we got him back this week. But the other, she does it all. She produces the show. She's in charge of marketing for Sanchez Capital Management, Douglas County Rodeo, My Tai Studio. I mean,
Goes
and that's
on
my
and
daughter,
on.
Bailey Sanchez.
You
the
did this
Sanchez
And my niece.
Show. Yeah, and your
Yeah.
niece. That's right. And your niece.
You
I'm
did
glad
this
all
to
that
me.
worked
It's my
out.
fault. Yeah, absolutely.
It's doing the math.
Yes.
Good things Jason's out of town today, because now we can just say it's the Sanchez Show.
It's a family affair tonight.
It's a family affair. Exactly. How is everybody?
Good.
Yeah.
Good for a
we're
Monday.
alive.
Bailey,
Yeah.
Ray, how are you?
I agree. It's good for a Monday. Knock on wood. I don't want to jinx that too
Knock
quick.
on wood. Yep.
It's not 5 o'clock yet.
Yeah, right. After the
It
show,
is
turn
here.
all of our phones off,
Yeah.
emails off.
Yep.
All right. Well, Dr. Dennis Sanchez is joining us, the AI doctor. Dennis, as I said last week, Dennis, you were coming back from your incredible son's, my nephew's wedding in South Carolina. And so we missed you. Audience missed you. I saw all the emails from people wanting to know where you were and all that, and make sure we're continuing the AI segment. And then absolutely we are. So let's get down to it, guys. Let's tell everybody what we're going to be talking about this afternoon with Dr. Sanchez and Bailey. Well, folks, today is a kind of an interesting day, because as far as the topic of the show, what we're going to be doing is we're going to be discussing how the world is changing from an AI perspective. And we'll be doing this after the stock update. How the world is changing from an AI perspective when it comes to the job situation. And that's why we asked Bailey to join us, right? Her generation is terrified right now. And she started to tell us before the show started, and I don't know the answer, I had to cut her off, that she did a poll on, what was it, Instagram, you said, Bailey?
Yeah.
Okay. Of young adults like her age, and what they think about AI and about AI taking their job. Well, Dennis brought to my attention this morning as we were prepping for the show, and he said, look, bro, he says, there's an interesting story that is out there in regards to OpenAI. Now, remember, OpenAI is Sam Altman's company. They're, kind of the founders of AI in a sense. ChatGPT, that's part of OpenAI. And, they got the Microsoft involvement and so on and so forth. OpenAI has said they plan to certify, now I didn't say teach, I said certify 10 million Americans in artificial intelligence by the year 2030. Folks, that's, this year's almost shot. So let's just say in 5 years, that is 4 years, that is a very, very aggressive goal. 10 million people. But then it goes on, as Dennis enlightened me to, then it goes on that Walmart plans to train all 1.6 million of their workforce here in the U.S. in AI. So if you think that AI is just some fad that's going to pass, please don't do that. Again, it is evolving so very fast. And imagine if 10 million people get certified in AI, what this is going to do. And then what Dennis is going to go on to talk to us about is how this could really begin to challenge what we call the college degree, right? Are employers going to be hiring people with a bachelor's degree, or are they going to hire somebody that's, quote, AI certified? Well, let me tell you, as an employer, that when you brought that to my attention, Dennis, that really made me sit up in my chair and go, you know what? Which one is really more valuable to me, right? And so this is going to be a very, very interesting topic about how people are now going to start getting certified in AI, what it means for the jobs market, who's at risk, who's not. I mean, we're not going to bore you unless you have the stats, Dennis. I don't know if you do or not, of, how many jobs are at risk with AI. I mean, I saw a stat.
13%.
I think was it? Yeah,
I
saw
actually that is the estimate, about 13%. We actually, let me backtrack a little bit. They're attributing about 13% of jobs lost the last 3 years of being impacted by AI.
Right. I have seen, and this was by I forget his name. They call him the godfather of AI. He was part of Google that really, was in the ground workings of the creation of AI. And I don't like his stat, because he said you could see, I think it was by the year 2035, up to 90% of jobs, right, Bailey? I shared that stat with you. Up to 90% of jobs go by the wayside because of AI. Now, I think that's very much at the extreme, but I think we could confidently and comfortably say that maybe 15 to 25% of jobs as we know it now are going to be either eliminated or completely different than what they are now because of AI. And folks, again, if you're not involved in this stuff, let me just once again emphasize how fast it is changing It's doing it in our industry. It's doing it in every industry. And again, Walmart has now said, look, we've got to train. And they went on in this article to talk about, right, Dennis, how many divisions of their company now are being involved in AI.
Mm-hmm.
And it's, again, it's staggering. It's exciting, but I know it's frightful for many people, right, Bailey? As you're going to enlighten us with this poll, because I have a feeling it's not going to be. I think it's going to be a poll that a lot of people are concerned about it. So I'm very excited to learn about that. But Bailey, I want to jump in just real quick before I get to the stock market recap of the day. I'm going to make it short because we got a lot of stuff to talk about. But talk about this poll that you did right before the show, because I'm really interested in this.
I was just interested to throw a poll up on my Instagram. I only have a little under 2,000 people on there, but I wanted to ask, are you fearful of AI coming in and taking your job? What industry are you in? And before I give all the answers and everything, people actually seem to be very excited about it versus fearful of losing their job. They're more excited about it streamlining the process of their employees. And so their employees can be more productive throughout the day versus just ditching the employee altogether, because
Right,
there
absolutely.
still will
Absolutely.
have to be a real
Yeah.
person regulating if what's going on is correct or
Mhm.
not. So it seems to be more optimistic than not on my
But
end.
that was the business owner answering.
No,
Right?
no, this is an
No.
employee.
The
He is in
employees? Okay.
human relations and talent acquisition.
Okay.
And so I asked him on the human relations part, well, do you think you're even going to have employees coming in to look after, right? If their job isn't taken? And he said, no, I think it's going to streamline their job actually, so
Sure.
I can put them on different tasks.
Right. Right, Dennis. That's what we hear so much.
And let's talk about that intention a little bit later on, because that's the intention of employers, but are they actually delivering that?
Right. Absolutely.
This is going to be like point counterpoint, isn't it?
Yeah.
I'm going to be the arbitrator in this whole deal, aren't I? I can feel it now. I can feel it now. Put me right in the middle of the two of you. No, that's true. But no, both of you have extremely valid points, and that's exactly what we'll be discussing as we discuss again. OpenAI wants to train 10 million people by the year 2030, and not just train, certify. So what's going to be this new certification? Are universities going to be around anymore? Who knows? But we'll talk about it. All right. In the meantime, let me get the stock market side of it going. Not a significant amount to talk about today, just to be honest with you. It was a great start to the week. It was a record finish for the Dow, record finish for the S&P 500. Things got started with some pretty good momentum in the pre-market session today. We learned over the weekend that Elon Musk decided to go spend about $1 billion, probably took it out of petty cash, spent $1 billion on Tesla stock. That equates to 2.6 million shares on Friday. So when that news hit, of course, everybody started piling into Tesla, and that built a lot of momentum. So Tesla for the day finished up $14.10, about a 3.5% gain to $410.04. So that wasn't the high of the day by any means, but still finished very strong. Then we get over to the world of Google and Alphabet. Dennis, you'll love this one. Alphabet is now worth $3 trillion in market capitalization. And remember, folks, the calculation for market cap is share price times the number of shares outstanding. That is what the company is worth. $3 trillion. They are only the fourth company to say we are worth $3 trillion or more. So that was a major monument. The stock surged $10.38 today, 4.3%, top of the big gains that we had last week. We finished at about $251.76 a share. Amazon up $3.28, 1.44%. You had Meta up $9.11, Microsoft up $5.46. Then as you being in the tech world and the tech guru, this is just mind-boggling to continue to see these tech names just continue to roll. What bad news seems to come out? Like NVIDIA today. It was down about 7 cents. China found that the company to be in violation of its anti-monopoly laws. Okay, big deal. The stock loses 7 cents. Probably be moving higher, in the next few days. Bottom line is this momentum on Wall Street that it seems like every investor wants to have some form or fashion of their portfolio in tech. And you almost have to, right? If you look at the year-to-date numbers, NASDAQ's up 15.7% year-to-date. S&P is up 12.5%. Dow's up only 7.9. Russell 2000 up 7.9. So you look at the 15.7% gain. Obviously, NASDAQ is comprised of tech names as well as financials as far as the weighting. It's got this incredible momentum.
And this is typically a slower time of year too.
It is. It is. Yeah, it really is. I think we could absolutely continue to finish very strong this year because remember, folks, let's kind of bring up the other big factor, which of course we all know because we touched on this in great detail on Friday when we did our market recap. We've got a Fed interest rate decision on Wednesday. We'll get the Fed decision at 11 o'clock. 98% probability as of today of a 0.25% cut. The odds now are over 80% of a second 0.25% cut at the October Fed meeting, and another 0.25% cut. Odds now a little over 70% at the December meeting. So total, 0.75% spread out over 3 meetings. Again, there's still a small crowd right now saying, hey, we potentially could get a 0.5% cut on Friday. Those numbers came out, and on Friday we said, no, we don't want that. Give us a quarter now. Give us a quarter in October. Give us another quarter in December. The market can take that. You cut rates a 0.5%. Everyone's going to go, uh-oh, what's the problem? What does the Fed see in their crystal ball worrying the economy? So that's where we sit. And the other thing that we touched on Friday, if you missed our show, please pick up our podcast from Spotify, iTunes, etc. Because the other thing that you need to be thinking about is the trillions of dollars that are sitting in money market accounts. And if the Fed cuts rates, you're going to see people going, hey, I was used to getting my 4% plus in my money market account. Now I'm getting significantly less. I'm going to put some of that money to work in the stock market, right? Because we know historically low rates are a driving force to gains in the stock market. So you could see a lot of this money come out of the sidelines, not all of it, of course, but a lot of the money come out of the sidelines, find its way into the stock market, and that just builds on the upside momentum. Things are pretty strong right now. I'll wrap it up on the commodity side. 64-cent gain on oil, $63.51 a barrel. Gold prices, another day of strength, $32.60 rise, $3,719.10, and down 3 basis points on the 10-year Treasury at a yield of 4.03%. Tell you where this market finished, and then we're going to get into our AI topic with Dr. Dennis Sanchez, Bailey Sanchez, when we come back. Let's turn it over and welcome back the wonderful Kristen Snow. Hey, Kristen, Jack did a phenomenal job, but there's only one Kristen Snow in the right now traffic. Welcome back to the Jon Sanchez Show on News Talk 780 KOH. Jason is traveling this afternoon, so I am joined by family members, Dr. Dennis Sanchez, the AI doctor, and my beautiful daughter, Bailey Sanchez, Director of Marketing for Sanchez Gaunt Capital Management. All right, once again, we finished up 49 on the Dow, a record finish for the NASDAQ with a 208 gain, 0.94%. 22,348 was our closing level. The S&P up 31 points or 0.47% to a level of 6,615. All right, our topic this afternoon is, again, AI. Obviously, that's why Dr. Sanchez is joining us here. And we're talking again about kind of this next, I don't know if you can even say next level, another level, I think is a better way, of where AI is going from a employee standpoint. Once again, as I said at the beginning of the show, OpenAI, which again is the name behind ChatGPT, they announced last week. Matter of fact, they went to the White House along with one of the Google executives. They met with Melania Trump, and made the commitment that they're going to train 10 million people by the year 2030, certify them in AI. And so we started thinking about this. It's like, well, once again, certification, that's kind of a new realm on this. And so we want to talk to Dr. Sanchez about this and see what's really going to be involved. And then I want to bring Bailey on, being much younger than Dennis and I, and talk about what's her generation looking at and doing and thinking about as far as AI certification. Because once again, guys, this may be the way of the future. And, I don't know, from an employer standpoint, do you want to hire somebody that's got a bachelor's degree or somebody that's certified in various levels of AI? I mean, obviously it depends upon their skill set, but boy, that's interesting. So Dennis, go ahead and get the conversation started here. I think this is interesting.
Well, it's not every day where you hear an announcement like that. You're going to train 10 million people. And so the question is, what does it really mean? And I've thought about it. We've talked about it. There seem to be a number of agendas going on at the same time. And they all kind of merge and maybe stand out as being a little bit more important, maybe. The first one being, was that a political stunt? Kind of. Look where he was. Yep. It's not bad. It makes everybody look good. Oh, yeah, we're going to do this big training. I mean, it benefits everybody. But what does it mean for society? Are we making some decisions here to say people are not getting the training they need to keep pace with AI in schools? They're not getting it at work. So we're just going to, maybe this is a trend. Technology companies are going to be providing more free training. It's already been going on. It's been going on for a while. Microsoft, for example, provides a lot of free training for people if they want to do it, if they have the motivation. Now, OpenAI is doing it. If there is, in fact, a competition here to race out there to really educate, there's a benefit educating people on your technology. We know that. We've seen it, over decades, how that works.
But what does this tell you? I mean, I can understand if they're like, oh, we want to certify or just have a certification program. But when they say specifically 10 million people, right? I mean, still a fraction of the overall society and population, but that's a lot of people. You worked for Microsoft or worked with Microsoft. What are they thinking? What's Sam Altman? What are they looking at by wanting to certify 10 million people?
Well, for one
What's in
thing,
your crystal ball?
OpenAI is trying to catch up in the enterprise on the enterprise level with the paid versions. They don't have that kind of footprint that Microsoft does. They certainly do with the free. They get they own that, but then you have really that partnership between the two of them. So in a way, they can't lose. And OpenAI has really benefited by the relationship. So they both have. I think it's been a good relationship. Certification is not new. Certifications have been around specifically with Microsoft and a lot of the big technology companies for a long time. So what maybe we're seeing is a shift towards realizing they're not going to get this education in college, in school. We don't have trade, I'm not going to say we don't have trade schools, but we've lost kind of that emphasis, and they're just going to go out there and make it available.
But yet trade schools, we've seen the numbers, they're starting to increase dramatically and because of AI, right? So
yeah.
Kind of interesting.
Is it I don't know if it's a generational thing, for example. What does that mean? What do you think, Bailey?
I mean, Dad, you and I have talked about it before where it feels like your college degree is just equal to your high school degree at this point. So I think people are really trying to take a step back and realize that trades are a specialized industry now. And there's so much money in it if you're in the right ones.
It's not embarrassing to say I'm a welder or a pipe fitter or something, where just a few years ago it was.
Absolutely. Yeah, most definitely. I think people are trying to think outside the box at this point.
I can think of a number of your friends that did not go the college route, and you've been out of school for quite some time, but and they're hugely successful financially, right? They've gone into the trades and things like that. So,
absolutely,
again, no student debt. They go in. I mean, matter of fact, Dennis, when I was back in South Carolina, I saw a billboard on the freeway driving over one of the sites we went to, and it was for a trade school. And I think it was HVAC, and it said, "We will pay you and pay for your schooling to get like HVAC certified." I'm like, wow, that's where it's going there, right?
Yep.
So that was pretty amazing there.
There's something that concerns me about all of this. So we're seeing this democratization of access to AI. I mean, basically, when you're going out there and saying, we're going to train a huge percentage of the workforce for free on our technology.
That's my point. That's what I'm asking.
But they're not really giving you the hands-on skills. It's like a carpenter, in my opinion. Carpenter learning how to use a hammer and things like that. They're not training you to be the architects. They're training you to be the workers.
The worker bee.
So we're still going to need in universities and in grad school and things like that. We need to train the leaders, and look at what we're asking the leaders to do now. Your team is going to probably be mixed with agents, agentic AI, and people.
Explain what that means.
You have to learn how.
Familiar with that term.
It means agents that work autonomously on their own and can work. Can be a bot. Yeah, but they can do a lot of different things. They can work together. But the most important thing is they don't need human intervention once they're set up, and they could be managing us too.
I was sharing with, I was just going to say that. I was sharing with Dennis an article I read on Friday where, again, not too far in the distant future, they said, just on a personal basis, you will sit down in the morning with your cup of coffee, turn on your computer, and your bot's going to go, "Good morning, John. Now, let me tell you what you have. First of all, how's your mood today?" Right? I'm seeing ChatGPT do that with me already. "How's your energy level today?" He calls me bro, how's your energy level today? And I'm like, energy level's great. Slept good, ate a good dinner, blah, blah, blah. Great. Let's get ready to tackle it, man. It gets you all pumped up. But then it's going to go, okay, now it's 7:00 this morning. You've got a meeting with Frank and Sally. Would you like me to prepare? Oh, by the way, I've already prepared all the account documents that you need for that. And by the way, I'll send an email to Frank, which is going to be your 10:00 meeting, reminding him to show up 15 minutes early. And it's going to plan out your entire day, and it's going to have everything ready for you. And right, Bailey?
Yeah. And on that topic of it integrating into all of your life, I hope people who are in the trades right now listening to this don't just turn it off thinking that it's only for employees. This is the most useful tool and technology that business owners could have, or even an employee who wants to go into a new trade. How are you going to market yourself write a great resume. I mean, I think the art is kind of lost now, and
Yes,
that is what it
yes,
is. So
yes.
don't turn this off just because you are an employee or you want to own your own HVAC company. This
Right.
has transformed our businesses
Absolutely.
180
Yes,
degrees
it
just
has.
utilizing
And
AI
I,
for
as the one
them.
that write the check every Friday for payroll, I'm embracing it. Jason and I are embracing it because, again, what you said at the beginning of the show, Dennis, and that is we're going to be able to free up monotonous tasks that our staff has to do right now, and we can put them on other tasks. And we're doing the opposite. We're looking to hire dramatically over the next few years because of AI, and that we never would have had that opportunity. Again, it just depends upon, from a business owner's perspective, to your point, Bailey, how are you going to look at this? Is it going to be a positive, or is it going to be a negative? And I think if you do it right, you can look at it as a positive. And I think, at least in Dennis and I's lifetime, I think it's going to be one of the most revolutionary things that we will ever experience as business owners.
Well, you
All right.
always need an input, not just the output.
Absolutely. Absolutely. All right, let's turn it over to Jack Saban. He's got news, traffic, and weather. Hey, Jack. Welcome back to the Jon Sanchez Show on News Talk 780 KOH with my brother, Dr. Dennis Sanchez, the AI doctor, and my beautiful daughter, Bailey Sanchez, Director of Marketing, Sanchez Got Capital Management. Once again, we finished up 49 on the Dow, a record close on the NASDAQ and the S&P. NASDAQ a 208 increase, and the S&P up 39 points. All right, how the workplace is changing with AI. That's kind of one of the topics we're using here. Once again, OpenAI, which again is kind of the parent company behind ChatGPT, meeting at the White House, or they met at the White House last Thursday, said we're going to train 10 million people by the year 2030 in AI. Walmart indicating that they're going to train all 1.6 million of its American staff. They're going to be offering AI training for free. They already deploys AI across multiple functions, including staff scheduling, stock management, inventory ordering, and they intend to expand its use further across customer service and supply chain operations. So we've got the world changing in front of us with AI. Once again, are you going to get on board, or are you going to sit behind and let this train, essentially roll past you? And that's really where we start to look at things like this, guys, is what do we need to do? What does our audience need to do to be prepared? And again, here's the thing to remember, folks. This isn't just something that is um, what's the word? Age discriminating, right? This isn't just for the young generation. This is really anybody that has a job. I mean, I've sent this challenge out before. Sit back and think about this. Think, can can a machine, a bot as we call it, and AI, and all the things comprised with AI, can it replace what I do? Can it do it faster, better, cheaper if you were sitting in your boss's or your employer's seat? If the answer is yes, you got to get on this train and start learning about this and get certification, because again, now we're starting to question how valuable is a college degree going to be, or is a certification from the likes of whomever, a LinkedIn, they're saying, Chat GPT, whomever, is that going to be more valuable to an employer than, say, again, a hard-earned 4-year bachelor degree? And so there's a lot of different things that this is really making everybody begin to take shape of, and really wonder where this is going. Bailey?
I completely agree. I don't think it's a if you want to jump on board, you're going to have to. And I think about it when computers came around, right? I'm sure many people
Great
fought the
analogy.
technology, and there wasn't a master class on how to work a computer, but you have to
Yes.
be self-motivated because it's going to pass you by.
Right, exactly. Dennis, let's go back to you. So could we want to find all the positives, and there are so many
Yeah.
positives with
Yeah.
AI, but let's kind of go back to something I think that probably is going through the minds of a lot of our listeners, and that is this the beginning of a new skills first type of hiring evolution that we're starting to experience? In other words, you can't get your foot into an office type of job, and again, I got to get rid of office. I'm going to change my vocabulary, really, into any job, unless you have some type of an AI certification behind you. I liken it, guys. Bailey, you were mentioning about the computer. What about typing? Remember, Dennis, Bailey, you're too young, but Dennis, remember, you
Fifth
couldn't
grade.
get a job for the life of you if you couldn't type in years past. So, I mean, what do you think about that question? Is this the beginning of a skills first hiring
I'm
evolution?
concerned that the threshold is so low because the training for free, they just really want you to. And I haven't looked at the curriculum or anything, so I can't really say for certain. But I'm thinking they're aiming for the masses, And where I would like to see is some training for people that can lead people that are doing that, don't
But
want to be
that's
leaders.
going to happen. That's
Well,
going to happen.
that's not what they're throwing out there. So I'm just wondering what the role of organizations is today in getting their employees ready. From my perspective, working with large companies and government agencies, they can't keep pace. Even if they want to, they can't do it. So this gap is emerging that's getting bigger and bigger, where it points to one thing. You and I and everybody else needs to take control of those opportunities and push yourself to stay and keep pace. It's good that the technology companies are making that available, and they have been for a while, but how many people are actually taking advantage of it? And then, so the opportunity is there. We don't have to wait around for our employers to provide the training. Let's do it now. Let's try to keep pace, because it's just going to keep changing all the time. And yeah, you're going to have some fluency with AI to get a job.
Bailey, off the cuff type of question, off of your top of your head, your generations, late 20s, early 30s, how involved are your friends in AI? How are they utilizing AI? Are they just on a personal basis, on a business combination? What do you hear from your friends?
It's actually quite interesting. I thought, at least with my circle, people would be more caught up with it. I always explain throughout my day to day, I used AI for XYZ for work. And a lot of friends still say, I have like the app, but I just use it for questions or something personal, right? So I preach it like a poster boy to everyone. You have to implement this into your day to day. I don't preach for technology taking over people's lives, but at this point, for efficiency, even when someone asks me to Google something, I say, I'll just go to ChatGPT. It's a lot more
I just had
efficient.
that discussion with a friend right before the
Yeah.
show. He's like, I never use Google anymore. I just do all my searches in
Yeah.
ChatGPT.
Yeah. So I think even people my age are behind a little bit. We're already set in our careers for the most part.
Right.
And if someone hasn't forced them to do it, then they haven't yet. So it's now becoming apparent that people need to put a little more urgency on their employees to at least get a little personal knowledge before
Yes.
the company implements actual training.
This real funny story. I don't remember the exact date, Bailey, or the time period. I'm going to say 1 to 2 years ago. I'll never forget. I can say it like it was yesterday. When I sat down with you and I went, Bailey, there's this phenomenal new thing called Chat GPT. Yeah, I've heard about it, Dad. I said, Bailey, look at this, right? I mean, that's how
Yeah.
it started. And now look
Yeah.
at you. Right?
Yeah, I thought it was
It's,
ridiculous.
yeah,
And then
yeah,
I
yeah.
started using it from that day
And you hear that
forward for everything.
and you start hearing that over and over and over again. It's like, oh my gosh, this thing is this most incredible thing. But
Absolutely.
Dennis, real quickly before we go to break, I want to go back to your concern about, what's the logic? I'll use the term. What's the logic behind corporate America, like a Walmart, for example, wanting to train 1.6 million people, or ChatGPT or OpenAI train 10 million? I think from an employer standpoint, what I would look at is the more people that are trained. So again, I'm going to go back to my typing analogy. The more people in my office that can use a typewriter, the better off I'm going to be, right? My business is going to be more productive. So what does it cost me, cents on the dollar, really, to train, 1.6 million people from Walmart? Big deal. But think of the hundreds of millions or billions of dollars of extra money or profitability they can create for me because they know how to do this. They work more effective and so on and so forth. And I think you brought up an interesting point too. It looks good in the public's eye, right? I think this is going to be something that you're going to see more and more corporations get on board. It's like, hey, come to us, almost like we're going to pay for your college education. We're going to pay for your AI training. Hopefully you stay with us, but if not, hey, we've made you a good employee to go on to somebody else, right? Hold your thought. I'm so behind on the break. Let me
You
get
got
this
it.
going here. Let's wrap it up with Chris and Snow right now, Traffic Center. Hello. Welcome back to the Jon Sanchez Show on News Talk 780 KOH with Dr. Dennis Sanchez and Bailey Sanchez. All right, we've been talking about, again, AI training. What employers now are starting to do is offer training to their employees and in some cases to the masses, right? I'm not going to go over all the details of that again. So, Dennis, I want to kind of wrap up. We've got a very generous offer from you that I want to announce here in a few moments. You and Bailey have come together to create this, but I want to kind of wrap up like the Q&A side of this with the following question. Do you feel that companies are preparing their employees to work with AI instead of being replaced by AI, as many fear?
No, I don't. Even it's not necessarily because they don't want to, they don't know how, and they can't keep pace. It's so challenging. You're talking about this technology changing every week,
sometimes daily.
The numbers just don't work. So you really need a new model for training to make this work. And it's got to come from the individual, taking the time to, and have the motivation behind them to do it.
Amazing.
So no, I don't think there's a gap everywhere.
You've worked with states, you've worked with governments, Fortune 500 companies. What is your advice uh, at this point to those companies or states organizations as far as this rapidly changing pace? How do you do it? It's like you're trying to stop a moving train
Most
in an
important thing
industry.
in my eyes is to keep close to your people and understand how they're feeling through this whole process. Because as Bailey kind of mentioned at the beginning, with the survey she did, people were saying, oh, they weren't that uncertain. But actually, we know from research also that a lot of people just aren't sharing that either. If anything, they're ambivalent, and that's almost as bad as not doing something. And if you don't know why they're not putting in the extra effort, then that makes it a lot more difficult to
Well, from what I
manage.
hear from people, they don't know where to start. And this
They
is
don't know
large
where to start.
businesses to small. They have
Yeah.
no idea where to start. I call it the ostrich syndrome, which is you
Hmm.
bury your head in the sand and just like, I can't deal with it, right? I can't deal with it. And I can see why a lot of people feel that way. But you two have put your heads together, speaking of putting heads together, not in the sand, but above the sand,
Ooh.
and have put together an incredible offer for our audience. I'm grateful to both of you. Bailey, I'm going to turn it over to you, how you and Uncle Dennis are going to help do our part to get people trained in AI.
Yeah, I think it's just a good starting point, right? Because nobody knows where to start if you're unaware of how to use AI. So we have put together a 40-minute masterclass video, under an hour that you would spend scrolling social media. And it is the basics of how to use AI,
Love it.
ChatGPT, and just where to start. So if you're feeling lost, it's a great starting point. The way you get it, you just email us. Shoot me personally
Yeah,
an
I've covered
email.
the cost of this along with Dennis. So this
Yep.
is of no cost to you. This is our way of giving back.
Yeah, absolutely. So shoot me an email. It is just Bailey at sanchezgaunt.com. That is
GAUNT.
Bailey at sanchezgaunt.com. And we will shoot this over to you on Wednesday once we have everyone's emails and utilize it, pass it along. And then that way you can hop back on next Monday and have a little bit more of an idea of this ChatGPT and AI.
Thanks, bro. I think this, and Bailey, thank you both. This is again, this is the step, right? If we can just get one person to start using AI that's so terrified of it through this video course, again, it's very simple to use, but very enlightening. We've done our part.
Really important point. You don't
Yes.
have to be technical or anything to, have that kind of background to really learn from these courses.
Right, exactly. Bailey, wrap it up from your generation's perspective. What's your advice to those in their late 20s, early 30s, as far as where what they need to be doing from your perspective, using someone that uses AI every day? Real quickly, 10
Our
seconds.
generation does not have an excuse not to know how to at least use the basics of AI. And that's where we will start with that. Put in the research. It takes nothing but a short Google search if you are not searching through ChatGPT yet. And my generation of all people need to get on board with this immediately, regardless if you think your industry will be affected or not.
Exactly. Dennis, 5 seconds.
We all have a wonderful opportunity at hand. Let's take advantage of it.
Yeah, I'm so excited about it. And that's why we do this segment with Dr. Sanchez every Monday. So once again, Bailey, Bailey at SanchezGaunt, GAUNT.com. Just send it in. We're paying the price of the course, AI Master Course. This is your first step to getting AI knowledgeable. Thank you, bro. Thank you, Bailey. Great job. That was a lot of fun.
Thank you.
Family show today. No doubt about it. God bless everybody. We'll see you tomorrow on the Jon Sanchez Show, News Talk 780 KOH.